This is something that I grapple with myself because I keep cycling through these feelings of anger, like anger and indignation and disbelief and just pure befuddlement and disappointment, because it's like, how did y'all put us here? Either by not voting, by falling for the artificial human beings that pushed a message of Lotus not being a black woman, of Lotus being for the removal of humans in a whole different place, of whatever it was that people got upset about. And interestingly enough, the issue that usually has people voting red was not the issue at the forefront. Usually it's about the woman's right to choose, and we really weren't even talking about that much. And the weird thing about that is, like, the blue team was ready for that conversation. Just about all their commercials were about the necessity of this, right? And the general public, as a majority, was for women autonomy. Like, why the heck does a female's body have to be legislated in the first place, right? So most people, except the entrenched religious cult, I believe in God. I have a personal relationship. This mess that I've seen using his name, oh, I know there's a special level of hell. I know it. Dante's Inferno got a few of them. I just don't know which one you belong to. Anyway, but what I'm going to say is, unfortunately, that's past, right? That was months ago, right? And we can sit and stew in our anger, and I have. Every time there was breaking news, it would be triggered anew, and I would go on a rant. And then I would either have to delete. By the way, spiritually speaking, a lot of my rants actually get deleted as I'm typing them. And I know that's not the gate control, the digital gate. I know that's the spiritual one. It's like, I don't want you putting this energy out there. I'm like, but I gotta say it, because I'm a big believer in the body remembers. So if I don't get all this negativity out, it is going to create negativity in my body. I don't need that. I'm dealing with enough, right? Or I will hide the rant. I'll feel chastised about it, and then I'll hide the rant sometimes. Other times, it stays, it flies. But what I'm saying is, we can't stay here anymore. We can't stay in this anymore. Like, how could you not see it? They I was gonna say they couldn't. They did see it, because I saw so many people coming on here after November and was like, y'all don't be like us. We bought into it. And so it's like, oh, so you're admitting your shit was fake, but ours is actually real. And, we were so trying to be so careful not to be compared to them that a lot of people actually lost their voice. So that said, we can't be here anymore. And right now it's about action. And it scares me, because I know, God, I'm so sick of tears. There are people who are getting the call. Like, okay, let's bring it to the fantasy of Twilight series, right? Because vampires arrived in the area, the Native American werewolves were triggered, and they were reignited. Their calling brought back to the forefront. And so they started doing their transformations. And those transformations, those who were called, because not every Native American was called, but those who were called their calling lay dormant because there was no reason for it. But when the vampires arrived, their calling was reawakened. I think that's happening, right? And I felt this happening with the pandemic. So, like, oh God, I'm getting goosebumps. So I know I'm on the right track. Because it's hot and I'm getting goosebumps. So, with the pandemic, I said something just happened. Something just cracked. Something just shifted. And just about everybody I know who was spiritually connected or inclined had the hardest time ever. All of a sudden, they're thrown into a wilderness. Financially, spiritually, familially. What's the word? Family, relationships, like everything. You had to confront all the shit you swept under a rug or all the skeletons you threw into a closet, and you had to face it. And so a lot of people got their callings reignited. They just didn't understand them. And because there was no community such as the Native American werewolves, that calling wasn't understood. But the interesting thing about this particular platform, which is why they were so gung-ho on getting it, is that community actually got fostered here, and the werewolves began to find each other. Those with spiritual gifts and callings began to find each other. Not those charlatans. There are a lot of pro-orange charlatans. Oh, I'm so spiritual. And they get passed around and like, yes, he's going to win because that is the right way for it to go. And like, that's not why he won. Like, what? And the ones who did not understand that those two attempts were not actual legit attempts. They were staged and they were planned. But if they were spiritual people, they would have known that. If they were truly spiritual people, they would have been aware of that. It wasn't about politics. There's a spiritual warfare that is at play here. And that is also why I feel like this guy is a glitch, a virus. Like, he was not supposed to be here. He was sent to ramp it up. Like, he came to ramp it up. Whatever the orange one was going to do, it was going to be, a pain. But this right here, this doesn't feel. This feels something's wrong. Something's wrong. The plan is awry. It's askew. And this fight is going to lose some lives. And that's why the tears came, because I know that people who are being activated, who are being called, some aren't being called to the front lines. And just like in the 60s, and just like in Native American history with the clashes of the Europeans, some are going to be, I don't want to say martyrs, but some are going to quote the Native American meaning, it's a good day to die when they go into war. Some are meant for that. And it's a travesty. It's a shame, but it's also purpose now. Oh, Jesus. What is this? But I feel you because I'm part of the first generation, the Zennials, not even the Gen X, but the Zennials, those born after a time, who was born into full-bodied human rights here in America, only to watch them disappear. It's nuts. It's terrifying. And it's now. Some of us have jobs. It's going to be like Kendrick Lamar to be a musician who incites people into revolution, and the writers, the poets, the artists, and the fighters, the physical fighters. It's now.